Hey y'all, so I've made some big changes to my aquarium. These are some things I've been wanting to do for a long time and just finally figured out how to do them. So let's take a closer look. So for a while I've been wanting to raise up a piece of land, like a small island in the center of the tank coming out of the driftwood. I've always really enjoyed this plant I've had growing off the driftwood, and the way the roots have wrapped around the driftwood and created a little bit of dry area coming out of the tank had always interested me. And some terrariums and vivariums, and I believe that's how you say it, kind of other setups I've seen online and YouTube and posted on forums. I've always been in love with them just because, to me, they're the closest thing to having a bit of nature in your house. So I wanted to recreate that for myself. I just didn't quite know how to do it. So last week, I was sitting around kind of thinking about it, and I just had an idea pop in my head, and I tried it out, and I think it turned out pretty well. Worked out pretty well. So in a later video, I can actually kind of break down a little bit better how I made this, but I was pretty excited, so I figured I'd go ahead and show the first initial results. So for right now, most of these plants are things I gathered from outside in my backyard, because I did purchase a few plants from my local fish store, but their choice of plants is very limited, and they weren't in the best of health to start with, and they pretty much dried up within a couple hours of planting them. I sprayed them with water and like a mister bottle, and I did my best to keep them moist, but they're pretty much dead from the get-go. So hopefully with some shopping around I can get some better specimens in here, but for right now I'm pretty happy with it. But I feel like this truly is heading in the direction I wanted this tank to have now. I wanted kind of a seamless transition from the aquarium underwater to above the water line with plants, and eventually some more animals up here. Obviously not a lot. Right now, I got a little baby toad chilling in here, or a bullfrog that I caught out of the backyard. He's not a permanent fixture, just while he's little. It's actually two of them, but just while they're little, they're actually here for bug control, for anything that might have made it through the cleaning of this moss. But they're just visitors for now. So the water's a little bit murky from what I built the island out of, and kind of the process of changing the tank around. You'll also may notice there's a few species of fish less in this tank. I've kind of been looking my stock over, and there's a few fish that I just hadn't been happy with in the tank. They hadn't kind of added the look I wanted and hadn't turned out how I wanted. So I rehomed a few over into my 30-gallon, and that would be the black ruby barbs. A majority of them are females, so they really don't have a lot of color. I only have one male that kind of shows color. He's showing a little bit more in this tank, but they look more at home in this tank. I actually like them in here better. And my Australian rainbows and the bala sharks just didn't fit in at all with the rest of my stock in here. The Australians kind of were too bland looking to me. They didn't really show their colors all that well, and they were starting to really tear up and pick on my other rainbows, the ones I do like, the turquoise rainbows. So I went ahead and rehomed them to somebody else's house. So I don't have them at all anymore. Now, some fish that I did add that are new, I did add some fire mouths because they're a little bit more, or a little bit less aggressive than cichlids. I've had some in the past, so I think they'll be okay in this tank. And they had a really good look when they're showing their colors. They've been showing some great colors. Right now, not so much, because I was just kind of digging around in here and still kind of adjusting some plants and moving a few things around. Well, another thing I've added, it's not showing up right now. I finally found my showpiece fish for this tank. He's pretty shy, and he's taken up residence under the island. So he may just have to wait until next week to see him. He only comes out once or twice a day. So anyway, just kind of a real quick example, actually, because I have these temporary sides that I have up here to keep the new resident from getting out. I have them taken off right now for the cleaning. But this is actually how I made my island, real similar to this. I just took a piece of egg crate, lined the bottom with this window screen material. But I took my egg crate, I cut my rough shape of my island, then I took this window screen material, put under it, and I zip tied it all around the edges. And I stuffed in between the egg crate and the window screen, almost like you would stuff a pillow. I stuffed it just like this was a pocket. I stuffed it full of a leaf compost that I've been composting from my oak tree. And that's after rinsing it really well, getting all the loose dirt and particles. It's still, obviously because it's leaves, that's what's turning the water a bit tea colored. But I got a way to clear that up. But anyway, stuffed that full of that to kind of give myself a soil. And then on top of the egg crate, I just cut me out a nice big piece of moss mat out of a large patch of moss I got growing in my backyard. And I rinsed and soaked the moss real well. Got all the loose dirt off of that. And I just laid the moss over this egg crate. Now what that allows me to do is the egg crate gives everything strength and stability. The top layer of moss has a thin layer of soil under it. But what it allows me to do is I just simply punch a hole through the moss. And then anything I want to plant, I stick it through the moss and then the roots down through this egg crate. That helps stabilize the plant and the whole structure. And then the roots go down into the leaf mixture I have sitting between the egg crate and the window screen. And the roots can grow in that material and get plenty of water. So hopefully it'll work out. I think it's going to work out, but hopefully it'll work out. But so far, I think it looks pretty nice. If the plants can tolerate that and start growing roots, I think I'll be in business. And hopefully with time, as the roots develop, everything will just get stronger and more set in place and more reinforced by the plants. So anyway, if y'all think that's a good idea or a terrible idea, let me know. Let me know what you think of it. But I'm pretty happy with it. I think I'm getting closer to, like I said, my original ideas or kind of vision for this tank. I want to develop it further. I want to find some real interesting plant species to put on here. Things like this bit of aloe is just kind of a placeholder. I want to find some flowering plants, some kind of miniature versions of some tropical looking underbrush. That's what I'm going for. I think I'm going to keep whatever this deal is, was growing in my oak tree. I'm going to keep that. Anything that kind of looks like this jungle undergrowth is kind of what I'm going for, but I want a little kind of tropical looking island over here. And maybe I can find another little lizard or cool little amphibian or something that'll stay fairly small and we'll be happy living on there. But anyway, thanks for checking out my video, y'all. Thanks for listening to me ramble on and talk nonsense at you. I really enjoy doing these videos. I enjoy reading all y'all's comments and answering them whenever I can. And y'all keep this fun for me. So I hope y'all have a great weekend and throw some ideas at me for plants. Thanks.